Well, most people are familiar with the plot of the Tom Cruise movie Minority Report, a concept of pre-crime being used to prevent crimes before they happen. Well, there's a new software system attempting to do something very much like that by forecasting the highest risk times and places for future crimes. Access through any browser, fixed or mobile, on any internet-enabled device, including tablets, smartphones, laptop, and desktop computers. Beware, that's the name of the program from Intrado. Searches, sorts, and scores billions, with a B, billions of commercial records in a matter of seconds, alerting responders to potentially deadly and dangerous situations while en route to or at the location of a call. Interesting stuff. Here to talk about this is Derek Smith, Director of Cybersecurity Initiatives at the National Cybersecurity Institute at Excelsior College. Thanks so much for coming in, Derek.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, so officers already have a lot of this information at their disposal, be it, inside their cruiser from their laptop or on a number of different databases. What's unique about this particular technology?
Well, with this, in the past, we've been doing this for years.
Sure.
We've done data collection and intelligence gathering for years, but now we're able to use technology to do it much quicker and have the technology right here at our hand, have the information in our hand where we can react quickly with it in order to be more proactive than reactive like we've been in the past.
I was reading up on Beware today, this particular technology, and one thing that is unique and stood out to me is that the technology is actually scanning, it says, commercial, criminal, and social media information, as well as any, quote, comments that could be construed as offensive in order to be able to determine a threat score. And then each suspect, I guess if you want to call them that police are responding to, is assessed through this technology a threat score on different levels, green, yellow, and red, based on comments they've made. Now, is that a slippery slope because obviously the algorithm doesn't have the ability to judge intent of content or comments. Rather, it has the ability to merely gather these words and then assign a threat level. Is there an issue there?
Well, there is an issue there. Here's the issue. If we go by just that predictive information alone, we'll have a problem. It has to be a two-step process. And that second step is that someone needs to analyze that data, needs to look at that person, maybe the past and things that group or person have done, and then make some type of analysis and some type of judgment there. Without that, you're going to have an algorithm telling you what crimes are going to exist, and there could be a problem with that.
And the algorithm's telling you not just that a crime could exist, but it's actually telling you who's going to commit that crime.
That is correct. It's trying to forecast based on maybe your past behavior or what is seen in your social media, and that change of behavior, changing the things you're posting about, and then they say maybe this person is going to perpetrate a crime in the future, and then they want prevention from the police officers.
One of the problems though with that idea as well is who determines what is threatening behavior or comments that can be perceived as being threatening. And so someone has to be programming that algorithm. Someone is directing the algorithm, are they not?
Yes, and that's where the problem is, because now we're looking at biases. We're looking at people making judgments about certain groups of people or certain things that are said. So we have to make sure that training is there. We have to make sure there's policies in place to make sure that doesn't happen. But of course, I see that as a big problem with this technology.
Certainly so. An opinion piece published in Reuters questions this program, saying this, quote, "There are many troubling aspects to these programs. There are, of course, obvious risks in outsourcing traditional police work, determining who is a threat to a proprietary algorithm. Deeming someone as a public threat is a serious designation, and applications like Beware may encourage shortcuts and snap decisions." Derek, certainly in the last few, especially months, we have a lot of issues that are being discussed in terms of policing in this country and how police are assessing certain people, certain situations. One of the big stories in the country right now is this young man, John Crawford, who had the BB gun inside of a Walmart and was shot to death inside that Walmart. Officers responded based on information given to them by a 911 caller who said there may be someone walking around with a weapon. And it was based on just that little bit of information that they made a very, very poor decision. Do you foresee lawsuits in the future over this kind of technology, of people saying, you're allowing basically a computer to tell you that this person is a criminal?
Yes, I do see lawsuits in this way. Basically, it's another form of profiling in a way, because we're looking at the data alone. We're looking at, basically, it's the information that goes in, garbage out, as we say. So if you're putting in past crime statistics and you're looking at what people are saying, those people tend to be the same people that may be perpetrating crimes in the future. But if we judge by that and try to predict on that, we can have problems. And then that leads to lawsuit, that leads to civil rights problems and things like that. So we have to be cognizant of that. There's already distrust of the government and police agencies. we have to be very, very upfront about what we're doing here and make sure that we address these issues up front.
Yeah, I mentioned in the kind of the lead into this, the issue of pre-crime, the idea for a minority report, and a lot of people have talked about that recently. Is there some positives to this technology? Maybe not going as far as searching through someone's social media comments and looking for keywords, but is there something positive in terms of some of this technology that's out there right now that gives officers, you know, at the moment, a kind of a variety of information coming in at one time to be processed properly?
Yes. Well, there's two things I see. First of all, we look at problems that could occur, but we also look at victimization. Maybe if I'm looking at your Facebook page or some of your social media, I can identify the type of person or problems that you're having that might be something that I can intervene with, or the police agency can intervene and stop the problem from happening before it occurs. Bullying, picked on at school, things like that. So that's a positive thing that can come from that. Also, we look at being able to put police sources in the right place at the right time. Would you rather the decision be made based on bias, based on police profiling, or based on true analytical and quantitative data? So you think about that, it could be a positive thing.
Absolutely. Derek A. Smith, Director of Cybersecurity Initiatives at Excelsior College. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And more than 76 million customers of JP Morgan Chase have been affected by the latest cyber attack on the banking giant. More than a month following JP Morgan bringing this hack to light, still very little is known about who perpetrated the attack. What we do know is that the hackers' computers could be traced to hacking attempts of at least 13 other financial institutions. JP Morgan said the attackers obtained names, phone numbers, and some email addresses, but did not penetrate enough to get account information or social security numbers, and that there were no evidence of any illicit movement of money across affected households. Now, the Obama administration appears to have begun receiving periodic briefings on the JP Morgan Chase attacks, along with several other financial firms this summer, as a part of a new effort to ramp up security communications between the institutions and national security agencies. So joining me to discuss these latest revelations is Derek A. Smith, Director of Cybersecurity Initiatives at the National Cybersecurity Institute at Excelsior College. Thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Now, 76 million customers at JP Morgan Chase were affected by the cyber hacking. I'm actually one of them myself. Apparently just names, addresses, phone numbers, other contact information of the customers were taken. What do you think was the motive for this sort of attack?
Well, it's going to be hard to say what the motive actually is, but since it is contact information, one of the things I think they will probably try to do with it is start contacting people like you who are affected by it and use it for phishing type attempts. So if they can get information from you, get you to give them more information on a phone call or through mail or something like that, they can use that information to go to get further information, to get financial information, to get deeper into your accounts and possibly gain money from that.
Like, could they possibly contact me, let's say, and call and say that they're from JP Morgan Chase because they know this information about me and use it that way?
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest tricks that they'll try to do. They'll call you up and they'll try to get you to give them bank account information or go on to verify some type of information. And with that, now they have the key to your kingdom. They can actually go in and access your information. So if they do call or do something like that, the bank will never ask you for that type of information. So you should say thank you very much, and you should hang up and probably call your bank. Follow with your bank.
And now some have said that the aim of this JP Morgan breach was targeting Wall Street itself, stating that the point being to hit the high net worth private clients so they can contact them directly. Has this breach changed the focus, perhaps, of the U.S. fight against cybersecurity?
I don't think it's changed the focus. I think that's been our focus for a while. I mean, we've seen these type of breaches for years now. They keep getting larger and larger. We see Target, we see Home Depot, those type of things. As you said, there's been 13 financial institutions that's been breached or probed. So I think we're always going to be vigilant, and although there are, well, one of the big things is phishing is that they want to try to contact those high-level folks, but they've been doing that for many, many years. Once again, just be vigilant, don't take those phone calls, and then keep doing what you're doing.
Do you feel that the Obama administration's heightened awareness, if you will, of this particular breach is it politically motivated? Seeing as as now they seem to be a little more aware because it's attacking the banking industry.
I don't think it's politically motivated. I think that it's a big concern when our financial institutions or any institution is attacked or you start to probe in that way. There's increased heightened alertness of this only because, I think, in my opinion, only because it's happening so often and it's getting larger and larger and larger. But remember, they got contact information, which a bank or financial institution would not protect as strongly as, say, your account information.
Right.
So it's something to be concerned with, but not as concerned as if they had your Social Security numbers and things like that.
I know many of these attacks are coming from outside of the U.S. Increasingly, they're coming from China, they're coming from Russia, and it seems to be very difficult for the administration to track down in the long run and prosecute who these attackers are. Why do you think it's so difficult for them to capture these cyber hackers and even pinpoint who they are?
Well, for one thing, cyber hackers, when you do something at this magnitude, you have sophisticated people who are doing these types of things. So they're going to use means and modes that are hard to track. I spent 18 years as a federal agent, and it's hard to track these folks down because they will maybe even use your computer, maybe use other people's computer. We have something that they call a zombie. They'll take your computer over and use that to perpetrate the hack. So with that being said, FBI may show up at your door and not the real person's door that's perpetrating the attack. So it's very, very difficult because of the many different techniques they have in order to hide their steps. And they're very good at hiding their steps. They've been practicing this type of thing, and they're trained to do it.
Now, what type of security, I mean, you would think an institution as big as JP Morgan Chase, the biggest banking institution in the United States, has the top-notch cybersecurity, but yet hackers are still able to even hack even the most basic information. What can these banking institutions change, and how can we, the consumer, be protected?
All right. Well, first, it's very, very difficult because of this. We have folks who are continuously attacking our systems, continuously learning more, and we're very, I'll say, reactive versus proactive. So companies have to start spending time to be more proactive in order to try to thwart these type of attacks. We have to stay on the cutting edge of technology. These folks spend all their time doing nothing but figuring out how to attack us. We have to spend all our time defending against it and trying to attack a lot more.
Got it. All right. That was Derek A. Smith, Director of Cybersecurity Initiatives at the National Cybersecurity Institute at Excelsior College. It's a growing trend. The things that are meant to make us more secure have now become the very things that can threaten our security. These little things. Wi-Fi connected security cameras, most commonly used by parents, as nanny cams have turned into baby creepers and tools for voyeurism. Recently, a nanny in Houston, Texas, was spooked by a man who hacked into the nanny cam and whispered to her as she was changing the baby. She acted promptly and unplugged the equipment and notified the parents. Before that, another case out of Texas. This time, the hacker turned his vitriol to the parents, who rushed into the baby's room after hearing strange voices. The startled parents saw the camera moving around on its own as it met eye to eye with the parents. The voice then called the man foul names and even called his wife the B word. Those parents, too, quickly disconnected the camera. It's safe to say that probably most manufacturers have some sort of vulnerability. Thousands and thousands of similar hacks have been reported across the globe. There are several websites where, at a premium, you too can become a voyeur of these so-called nanny cams without having to do the hacking yourself. But it doesn't stop there. You can live stream basically any type of Wi-Fi camera, ranging from inside someone's home to the security camera of a local liquor store. It's easy to fall victim to one of these hacks, but it's also pretty easy to protect yourself against them. That this is an emerging threat to consumers and that there will only be more of this to come.
Number one, it's definitely going to get worse. As long as we're attached to the internet, we're going to have problems. I always say the internet is the best invention ever, and it's the worst ever. So think about this. If we're able to turn our fireplace on, or control the water, and I turn your water on and let the water overflow in your home, or I turn the heat up as far as it can go or down, or turn the fire on in your home and something catches fire. So now we talk about this Internet of Things, where everything is connected to the internet. If everything is connected to the internet and I'm a hacker, I'm the bad guy, and let's say they all have default passwords as well, I can control everything in your house and everything in your life. But I can control your car, your laptop, your flight plans, your vacations. I can unlock your doors because now they're going to be attached to your door locks. There's nothing that in your life that I won't be able to touch.
Mr. Smith also said that if you notice your webcam has been compromised, the first thing you should do, as counterintuitive as it may sound, is actually not to unplug it. Rather, simply calmly cover the camera with a sheet or a scarf and contact the police away from the camera's range. He says that once you disconnect the camera, you've just deleted any possible way for the authorities to track the perpetrator.
But while it provides a convenience, some consumers have already called it creepy, namely because of what it means for the user's privacy.
Your passwords, your pictures, your videos are going to be sent in what we call clear text, which means any bad guy can intercept them and can look at your pictures, look at your videos, and even communicate with the machine and turn it on and watch what's going on in your home. We see with those video cameras now, they're watching babies in their cribs and they're talking to babies. They'll be able to do the same thing with this device. They'll be able to talk to you in your home, watch you in your home. So that's where the privacy issue comes in.
Trump's Twitter account has been his not-so-secret weapon all along, but now security experts will need to make sure it's not used against him.
As I said, I was a federal agent for 18 years. Me trying to figure out what he's saying, how he's saying it, and what he's going to release is going to be the biggest burden. And also recognizing threats and things that's coming back at him and which one are valid threats that I have to vet as an agent.
A matter of time until a major hack hits the nation's power.
Before we had the internet, it was pretty safe because you had to get physical access to actually protect it. But now everything is going digital. So now we're taking this old technology, trying to mesh it with this new technology, put it on the internet, and anything that touches the internet or wireless has the vulnerabilities that comes with being connected to the internet.
Smith says the use of cybercrime as a weapon by nation states and criminal gangs means Washington must prepare for the worst and work with private industry to secure the nation's power grid.